This is a brief training on how to access and navigate your virtual QS fairs. This training is going to cover the World Grad School Tour and World MBA Tour virtual events. We'll go into accessing and preparing for the events, navigating the event platform, and some tips for candidate engagement. In advance of the events, you're going to need to get into QS outreach. Everything that we do in terms of preparing and accessing events utilizes this client portal. If you are new to working with QS or otherwise unfamiliar with using outreach, please drop a line to your customer service manager because anyone participating in a QS event must have an outreach login with active credentials. Your customer service rep can help set those up for anyone on your team who doesn't already have them. In advance of the events, you must assign the relevant members of your team to the specific events they're staffing. The reason for this is we actually want to connect their profile to the virtual booth as an attending staff member, and this allows us to bypass any additional logins. So it's very important that we know who will be attending. The screen grab you're looking at walks you through the process of how to assign members of your team to the specific events. If you have alumni or agents or active students that are representing your school, anyone that's outside of your university staff, let your customer service representative know so that we can get them set up with a unique login that doesn't actually give them access to outreach, and they can still help work the event with you. The next step in preparation for the events is to update your school's subject matrix. You can find this inside the event dashboard. It only needs to be done once. You're going to click on the left-hand side of your screen where you see subjects and fee waivers, and then you're going to tick the relevant subject boxes. Keep in mind we don't have every program that every school has at every university, so just get as close as you possibly can to the subject areas, and these will be linked to a matching tool that the students can use during the event to help match them with the schools that are promoting the programs within their desired area of study. If your school is attending both World Grad School Tour events and World MBA Tour events, you're going to need to do this twice, once for each event format. If your MBA program doesn't have official specializations, please consider ticking some of the boxes that might be relevant to some of the elective courses that you offer, just so that you aren't missing any students that still might be a good fit for your program. On the day of the event, you will access your virtual fairs by logging into Outreach and clicking on the button that you see that says Enter Virtual Event. There's two different screen grabs here. The first is from our beta version of Outreach. The bottom is for the old, or what we might call the current version of Outreach. When you click on this button, it's going to drop you into the virtual event space as yourself. So there's no additional credentials that you need to sign in. A helpful feature of the beta version of Outreach that you'll see here is that both the local time of the event is listed as well as the time where you are physically located. This is based on your computer's IP address. This feature is only available if you're logged into the beta version of Outreach. So take a look here. You can see that the Brazil event in local time is at 3 p.m., but it's at 7 p.m. for wherever this computer was located at the time of the screen grab. All right. Let's talk about navigating the virtual event space itself. After you've clicked on Enter Virtual Event, you're going to be dropped into the event lobby. The lobby you're looking at here is for the World Grad School Tour. The World MBA Tour events look just like this, but with slightly different colors. You're most likely going to just start off by heading straight into your event booth. You'll do that by clicking on Meet Universities. Across the bottom toolbar are some really helpful navigation pane here. So this first button where you see navigation, the first thing you can do here is choose your avatar, and we'll show that in the next slide. You can also at any point throughout the event get help from a QS staff member by clicking here on Exhibitors Breakout Room. We will have somebody there monitoring that chat window for the entire duration of the event, starting from 30 minutes prior and throughout the entire thing. This button here is where your chat windows will be saved. So go here to re-access any of your open chats, and we will cover a little bit later how to save those chats. The briefcase is where the saved chats will be accessible, and you're going to need to copy and paste the text of those chats into perhaps a Word document or a Notepad document and save them before the close of the event. We are not able to actually re-access any of your chat conversations after the event closes, and this is due to GDPR data regulations. So please be sure that you go back into the briefcase prior to the close of the event and copy and paste the text of your chats. Once you've clicked on Meet Universities, you're going to find, rewind. The first piece is going to be choosing your avatar. There are stock images preloaded into the software, so you will simply go to the navigation pane, click on Choose Avatar, and then select the person that you feel best represents you. And this is what you're going to look like inside your booth. The next is going to be finding your actual booth. So you will click on that Meet Universities that we saw a few slides back. You can search for your school name here, or you can scroll through and find your school. What you're seeing here are the subjects that are linked to your booth, and this came from the subject matrix that I mentioned earlier. Once you're in your booth, you're going to see your avatar appear, whoever you selected. There will be a maximum of 2 avatars. Even if you have 3 representatives behind their screens at home, the space only allows for 2 avatars. You're going to see the images that someone on your team, you or someone on your team submitted. This is the background image. This is the desk image. Your video that you submitted will appear here. The candidates can click on it and pop it out into a larger screen so that they can view the video, and your brochure materials are here. If you have multiple reps attending this event, we recommend setting up a secondary communication channel for your team members. That could be a group Skype chat or a WhatsApp chat, maybe something on Teams, where you can tell one another what you're currently doing. If you have to leave the group to go and perhaps attend a panel, or you are going to engage in a video call, which we'll cover in a second, it's good to let your team members know that you're unavailable. We recommend that you have 2 people staffing your booth, but no more than 4. Otherwise, your communication can get quite chaotic. Most of your student engagement activity is going to be managed in the group chat area. This is what you'll see here, this join group chat. When you log in, any student that actually logs in is going to automatically pop into that group chat. So this is a great place to post a welcome note and address questions that any of the candidates post for the group. We encourage you to be proactive and engage with the student audience, like ask them the questions first. Sometimes students have a tendency to be quite passive. So anything that you can do to kind of get them chatting with you is great. And we'll cover some tips for that a little bit later on. So this is what that group chat box looks like. You can see who's currently in your booth over on the right-hand side. Make sure that you don't close the chat if you are still talking with students. You can minimize it by clicking on this little icon here. You can pop the chat window out, and we recommend using that because it's going to actually allow you to keep that chat active while you engage in any other private chats with students. So you can multitask and have those private conversations happening at the same time that you're monitoring the group chat. This is similar to if you were ever an AIM user, 20 years ago like I was. The X itself will close the chat window. You can re-access it by going back into the group chat, but you're definitely going to want to save anything before you leave the conversation. Saving your chat content is also very important. When you're chatting with a candidate, it is recommended that you save that chat, and it's going to go into the briefcase. Again, the content of these chats will not be available on Outreach. So before the event closes, you need to open each chat, copy the content into a Word document, and save to refer to after the event closes. We recommend that you use this text snippets feature. You can preload responses or any links to, let's say, scholarship information for your programs, things that you will frequently otherwise have to type out. You can include here as preloaded responses and questions to reach out to the group throughout the event. These can be basic admissions requirements, anything that's going to make your communication more efficient during the event. Once you're in a private chat, if the student you find is very engaged or they have a lot of questions that you think might be easier to address by speaking to them directly, you can take this one step further by inviting them to a video chat. This feature is just for one-to-one interaction. It is seamless through the platform. It doesn't require any additional applications, so it's very straightforward. But keep in mind, if you do open a video conversation with a student, you are not able to conduct any of the additional chats, anything that you were already doing beforehand, and this video is not recorded. So if you enter a video chat, make sure you, number one, alert any of your other colleagues through that secondary communication channel. And number two, take some notes on a piece of paper or type them out on a notepad or a Word document, because this will not get recorded, again, due to data regulations. We've noticed over the first few events in Latin America, it's just going to vary market to market, the comfort level that the students have and how much video engagement to expect. Don't expect a ton, because we find that a lot of these students are kind of here for a more passive experience. You can request the call, but if you do that, bear in mind that you're not managing the other students that might be in your booth. So it's good to just make a quick contact and maybe schedule a follow-up conversation where you can speak to that student in more long form after the close of the event. Accepting a video call from a student is actually quite simple as well. Candidates can request a call with you, and if you want to accept that call, you just simply click accept. If you want to reject, they're going to get a notification saying you're unavailable and that they should try again later. You will get any notifications from missed video calls in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If at any point you require help, go down to that navigation area, click Exhibitors Breakout Room, type out your question, and somebody on the QS staff will be there to answer it. Before the event is over, please make sure you fill out your feedback. It's extremely important for us to improve our events. Rate the event, make sure that you save the feedback. You're going to find this feedback area by first selecting the Connections tab on Outreach on the left-hand navigation. So some tips for candidate management, best practices and tips for engaging. Definitely engage with leading questions in the group chat. Invite them to speak with you with more leading questions. I'll give some examples of that on the next slide. Don't just repeatedly type out the same invitation like, please join me in a private chat, please join me in a private chat. Put yourself in the shoes of the candidate. They pop into that window, and what are they going to see? A welcome note would be great. A list of your programs would be great. Anything that's going to kind of get them excited to talk to you. Definitely pop your chat windows out so you can engage and manage multiple conversations at the same time. Try to use those pre-written text snippets to make your life a little bit easier. Don't expect a ton of video engagement. You never know what people are prepared for on the other side of that screen. Do invite candidates to set up some post-event coffee chats or follow-up conversations so that you can dedicate more time to understanding what they're looking for in a program. And definitely keep your own notes just as a secondary measure to make sure that you don't miss anything. Have a notepad ready, write down a name, program of interest. That way you can do some more targeted follow-up communication after the event. And do leave a message in the group chat if you have to leave your booth for any reason, like virtually leave it or even physically leave it. A little note, be back in 5 minutes. If you have to do a panel or presentation, it's good to know for the candidates that you will be returning within 30 minutes or so. And definitely download your chats from the briefcase area before the close of the event. Copy and paste the content of each chat into a Word document that you can then print out or save electronically on your computer. Some of the leading questions that we think might be helpful for you. Hey, who here in the booth has already chosen X country as their study destination? Does anyone here have a 5-year career plan? What does that look like? What's your dream job? Has anyone started a grad school application? Are there any challenges or do you have any questions around your application process? Who's here has taken the GRE or the GMAT exam? Do you need tips on how to study for that? Is anyone looking to use their graduate degree to change industries? These are the types of questions that would be really helpful to get candidates talking with you. Your post-event connections, which is obviously one of the most important pieces of the whole thing, are going to be downloadable as a file from Outreach. You'll get a CSV file. You're going to see in multiple columns that any candidate that enter your booth will count as a connection. And this is going to say that the candidate was met at the table, and you'll see a yes underneath that column. Candidates that downloaded any documents, any of the PDFs that you uploaded to your booth, will have a yes/no for downloaded the document. Candidates that watch the video will also have a yes/no under the video view area. If they engaged in a private chat, it will show you yes or no. It will not show you the content of the chat. If you've done a presentation and they actually attended that presentation, it will show them as yes in seminar. The connections area in Outreach is where you can actually get additional details. So when you go into that navigation pane, you'll go down and click on connections and you can see what the person actually did, how much time did they spend in your booth, and which documents did they actually download. Some candidates will download all of your documents, making it a little bit tricky to know what they're interested in, but others will just select a single document, and that way you can say, hey, I saw that you saw information on our master's in management. What more can I tell you about that program? Are you interested? That kind of thing. The next piece of this presentation will actually show you a live space. So again, to access your event, you're going to be in QS Outreach. What you see here is the beta version of Outreach. This is our most up-to-date look with some new features for you. I'm going to scroll down to the next event, which is a World Grad School event, World Grad School Tour Columbia. So I'm going to go in and I've marked myself as attending. I'm going to view the event itself. This is what your event dashboard looks like. I am going to access the virtual space simply by clicking here. You'll see that the login process just gets bypassed. I am automatically logged in through Outreach. The auditorium here is where the presentations and panels will be accessible to candidates. Again, you'll see down here the navigation pane. Choosing my avatar is a pretty simple process here. I can just go through and see who I like the best. If I want any help, I'll click on Exhibitors Breakout Room, and you'll see there's a chat here. You'll get this little overlay for the tutorial, but I'm just going to close that out. All right, I'm going to get out of that chat. I'm going to go here now to Meet Universities to find my booth. You'll see actually the logos for the different schools that are here participating. I'll just select a booth here. All right, this little description of your school will show for a couple of seconds to the candidate when they enter, and then it disappears. It's accessible through this little triangular icon here, but it will go away within a few seconds. Your avatar will show up here. Like I said, a maximum of 2 avatars. This is where your background image appears, your desk image appears, your brochures are available. The candidate can look and see like which brochures they'd like to download and view. This is where the video is visible. I'll get out of that. If the student is going to, this is what the student sees when they first log in to your booth. Right here is where we can see chats. I had a chat that remains open with my colleague Dan. If I go into that chat, I will want to save it. And then I can leave that chat, go into my briefcase, access the chat again, copy and paste the message, and put it into a Word document before leaving the event. If at any time you have questions, again, go into that exhibitors breakout room. If you have questions in advance of the event, please feel free to contact us. Your customer service person will have, answers to all of your questions. You will not be able to get into the event space prior to 24 hours in advance of an event. So don't try getting into the virtual space any sooner than that. And when you are in that virtual event space, if it's not actually during the live event, please make sure that you are not testing out any of the chat features. Don't add messages to the group chat unless you want them to be there during the live event. It's really actually kind of difficult for us to go and scrub any conversations. So please you can poke around, but don't type out anything in advance. All right, that should do it for us. If you have any other questions, please let us know.